Now, what transformed the situation? How did we manage to turn the situation around? A number of things happened. And they happened at about the same time. The Americans recognized that they were doing things wrong. And they started learning from their mistakes. And at this point, I always like to quote Winston Churchill, who once said that Americans always end up doing the right thing after exhausting the alternatives.
Well said.
Anyway, they started doing the right thing. And I believe in announcing the surge in January 2007, that was the turning point in American approach in Iraq, in appointing General Petraeus, who changed the military posture in Iraq from a defensive posture into a more proactive posture. Before General Petraeus, the mantra was force protection. It means literally American units would be fortified in bases, and they would make forays, operations. They'd go out, do something, and come back to their base, abandoning the communities to their fate, abandoning them to effectively the intimidation of the terrorists. General Petraeus announced that American forces would, from then on, live with Iraqi forces inside communities and protect the communities. That was a huge transformation and gave reassurance to communities who then became much more vocal and outspoken in identifying dangerous elements and terrorists amongst themselves. So that was an important thing. The increase in numbers was also helpful, but was not the only thing that was important. And it's about the same time that the tribes in the west of Iraq, in Anbar, turned on the Al-Qaeda elements and the extremists and started fighting back with some encouragement from the Americans. Because before that, they were afraid to move in case the Americans hit them. And then if you like, the recovery started. And it has continued until today. Now, what does that mean? Are we out of the woods? Are we out of danger completely? No, we're not. We have huge challenges because we've inherited a country which had all but collapsed. Institutions were almost non-existent. And we are having to build everything from the ground up, from even below the ground. Also, the country had been decapitated during Saddam and afterwards during the extreme violence of 2005 onwards. The educated elite, most of them who were able, left the country, and we have very limited capacity in government institutions and departments and also in the private sector to get the country going and to get the economy moving. So we have severe limitations on our ability to rebuild the country, and we have still political tensions. We have considerable interference by our neighbors who, detecting a vacuum or sensing danger by the presence of through the presence of American forces, wanted to have as much influence and still want to have as much influence over Iraqi affairs as they can, either to protect themselves or to stake their future interest in the country. So it's a very complex situation, and we are, if you like, trying to drain the swamp while being pursued by lots of alligators all over the place. But we are still making progress. Iraqis are the most resilient people I know, and I have seen many countries and lived in many countries. The resilience and indeed the heroism of ordinary people is humbling. And we see examples of that every day. People are totally fearless. They go out in the morning knowing that they might not come back in the evening, but they still do that every day, and they go about their business, they look after their children, and they do the best they can in extremely difficult circumstances. Now, in this transition, which has converted Iraq from the most awful dictatorship, which was a danger to its people and to its neighbor, into a country that looks like going steadily on the path of democracy, certainly freedom of expression, and non-aggression towards others, and rule of law. This conversion is a profound transformation, which will have an impact in the region. And I believe our constitution is the most advanced constitution in terms of Bill of Rights and freedoms of citizens. We have made considerable progress on the rights of women. A full 25% of our parliament is made up of women, and that is stipulated in the constitution. We have several women ministers, judges, and so on. So we are making determined and steady progress, and I will believe at the end we will be a very valuable ally of the United States in the region. This kind of event, this change in Iraq, is difficult to evaluate and assess while we are in this period of turmoil and pain. But I believe in 30, 40, 50 years' time, historians will look back at this and will recognize it to be one of the most significant changes in the face of in geopolitics in the world, because its impact will be far-reaching, not only in Iraq, but in the region, and I believe throughout the world. I don't want to spend the whole evening talking, so thank you very much. I'll stop here and leave it here.